Good morning, my dear party people. Senior Cap presents The Bear Bulb. My name is Buddy, and I am your host for tonight's conversation. Our guest tonight is a Montclair State University alum from the class of 2021. Since graduating, he has directed 2 music videos. His new film, Tomorrow's Bandit, has been accepted to 5+ festivals, including the Lake Placid Film Festival and the New York Shorts International Film Festival. His new documentary, Like It Never Happened, is still in production, a documentary about 2 people who haven't seen each other in 7 years and how a photo is about to change everything. I welcome David Ambrose.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing, David?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm chilling. How was your drive here?
Not bad. As soon as I pulled up, I was like, great. It's one of those spots where you can't park right in front. So had to go around the corner, but ran over some glass. I'm doing all right.
I saw that you got like a little coffee with you. What was the...
Yeah. Well, we call it a little Starbucks Frappuccino. Yeah, it's coffee, you know. I just I have coffee.
I see that. Like I feel like some people prefer like bottled coffee over like fresh coffee. Is that a thing? Is it a thing with you too?
I just like iced coffee, you know, none
so
in
cold.
Particular. Yeah. Even when it's like cold out, I don't know why, but it just helps me go throughout the day. Honestly, once I'm out of work, I have so much to do just with like family, house, film stuff. Like I really want to nap. So I actually do that to not nap, and it's probably not healthy, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, doing things that are not healthy are somehow healthy.
Yeah. I guess if it keeps you happy, to be honest.
I think that's, yeah.
I mean, seriously, yeah. If it keeps you happy, fuck it.
Let's start at the beginning. Why film? Where did it start?
Like why I like to direct, things like that.
I would say, yeah. Where did it all come from? When was like the moment that you wanted to do this, or well, why was it part of your childhood that you maybe wanted to do this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone's gonna say the same thing, right? We all want to do when we were little, which is true. I did. I used to want to be a comic book writer. I was very into superheroes, even before the whole like MCU thing happened. Very into graphic novels. I remember reading World War Hulk, Marvel Zombies. I mean, these go back like 2005. And I've always just been interested in that. I used to like imagine things in my head. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, that's like movie making. And one of the things actually I used to have, are you familiar with the cell phone, the NV2?
No.
Super old phone. Look it up. It's like a flip phone. Had the most powerful button on it. Had the pause button. And I was super into Legos. I used to make stop motion videos with like, I used to love that. I used to do it with my phone. I thought it was so cool. And I wish I could still have access to that video. I have the phone, but like I went to Verizon, and it's like one of those old things that once the battery dies, everything dies. But I still remember doing that. And then I would say everything was kind of whatever. And then till high school, I was like 15. Shout out to my friend, Matt Madrigal. He was taking this like film class in high school. I had not enrolled yet. And he gave me a couple movies for me to watch, movies I had never heard of. It's so cliche for like a boy, but it was a bunch of Tarantino movies. And I was not a movie buff, like, and being like 14 years old and seeing Kill Bill, like it actually blew my mind.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, I have different opinions now that I'm older, but, you know, I'm never going to forget like that being 14 and like just loving it. And I remember since then, I wanted to enroll in that film class, and then I wanted to be behind the camera. So I would say, like everyone else, yes, when I was younger, but seriously, again, was like towards the end of high school, I was like, wow, like I've always wanted to do this. Why don't I? And I would say, Matt, ironically enough, just handed me some movies that like really changed my perspective at like 14.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, when you get like that, this sounds like a drug, but like that first dose, like that first bit, it's like, oh, it feels like, because it's like, it feels like impossible, but possible all at the same time. It's like the best feeling ever. I don't know. It's like cinema. I don't know. It feels amazing.
I would agree. Yeah.
And so you came to Montclair. You have a business degree, but you also tried to keep in that world of the film minor. And so I think what was your first film called?
So I consider my first narrative Bad Beat. Made that in 2021, and it wasn't done till like 22.
Which I love.
Oh, thank you.
I love that movie. And it's so funny because I think a professor... No, I think Sean Lee edited that, right?
He did. Shout out to Sean. He's the man. So
what's funny is I think Sean was either was doing the editing portion of thesis or whatever, but he showed us that movie, and it was amazing. I was like, oh my God, I love this movie. And it's so funny because like you're so insecure about the movie sometimes, but I love the movie.
It's like your first one, so you just find things that are wrong with it.
And
I like it because it honestly, I love it because it was supposed to be a drama, but I'm like cracking up watching it. It's so like
it is
in
funny.
Your face. It's so over the top. Everybody's like trying to be a character, and that's on me. That's how he wrote it. And I think I also laughed too because it just meant so much to me at the time. And I'm like, oh, it brings back all these memories and things. I remember working with the actors, getting everybody there and stuff like that. So I think honestly, I laugh at it more just because it's like a nostalgic, like warming, wholesome feeling.
Yeah.
But
reminds you of that time.
Yeah. So I consider that to be my first. I mean, of course, I made some like school projects before that, but this was the first time I had a script. This is the first time I had casted people. So that's why I consider that to be. It was a very small crew, but like, Bad Beat is my first narrative. It was a short film.
What did you do to, I guess, prepare for that movie? It's your first film. You feel like there's like some stake, something on the line here because you're trying to make something. What were you doing to prepare for that moment?
Well, gosh, taking me back. So this was shot during Biden's inauguration. I remember that because it was like 2 days after. So I do remember that. So this is early 2021. Yeah. What happened January, right before February? That? Yeah, January, literally. And so what happens before that, 2020, which is COVID. So in 2020, as you mentioned about being a business major, oh my gosh, in 2019, I took an extra course in school for my major, and it was really freaking hard. I guess I think I took 18 credits. I don't remember. I did it because I took
18 credits every semester.
Oh, that's a lot. I think.
Dude,
it was been out of
ridiculous.
College for so long. I don't
literally my senior year, I was like, I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to do 12 because every single semester before then was 18.
Is 12 normal?
12 is weirdly the requirement you need
to be a full-time
student. But
it's been a while, man.
You need at least, I think, 15 for a percentage of the semesters for you to actually pass on time of a 4-year. Sorry, what were you saying?
COVID, right?
Yes, you were a business major. Yeah. You were taking an extra class.
Mm-hmm. Then the spring semester rolled around. And I was excited to take this class coming up because it was a filmmaking class. We're actually going to make a short film. And I learned so much, absolutely loved it. And I wrote the script, and then COVID happened, obviously, and everyone had to stop. So this was probably March or April of 2020. And I used the rest of this year to write the script, think about what I really wanted to do, and pretty much prepare and see what I had. And, one of the reasons why I was so excited for this filmmaking class was not so much like, yes, I was excited to like meet people and see what I was going to learn in class because I don't know that much, but filmmaking costs a lot of money. I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about that sometimes. And, knowing that, man, I could get these cameras that everybody would say like, oh, this lens sucks, this camera sucks, it's outdated. I was like, dude, I'm using my phone. Like, this is amazing. I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
And this was back in 2020, so 2020, 2021. So these phones have improved immensely, but I'm just saying like, just the idea that I'm gonna have a zoom lens on like a Canon 60D, I thought was like, I was shooting
the coolest shit ever.
Yeah, I was like shooting on film, So it just showed how low the bar was for me, and I was excited to do that. And then when COVID took that away, I decided to prepare with really no equipment and how we were going to shoot it. And so I loved Following by Christopher Nolan. I loved how he shot it. And I just liked the rawness of it, the dinginess of it. And how he shot in 16 millimeter black and white, used all natural lighting. And I really wanted to copy that because I was like, we can't get a gaffer. I can't afford to get anybody. And so having my buddy's apartment, Nicholas Sisti, longtime collaborator, love that guy. We wrote no, we didn't write Bad Beat together, but he did help a lot with it. And we had his apartment and we had natural light. We had in the apartment like 3 windows, and we had somewhat of a script, and then I just tried to revolve a story that I knew could be told in a dingy looking apartment in black and white that wouldn't take you out of it, and it would actually kind of look intentional. So I kind of try to work backwards, and I used that year with the COVID shutting everything down to kind of do that. Then by the time it was like December or November, I was like, I'm going to shoot this over winter break, and then we shot it, and I don't know. There's a few weird stories. Had the cops called on us. Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Oh my God, for the subway scene?
Yeah, that was funny. And then just regular like film delays. But that was cool, man. That was my first time working with the crew, and everybody was like super nice, super chill. And yeah, it was first time for everything, so I liked it a lot.
There's that interesting thing of working backwards. That when you're writing and you're going to direct it, you're already in the means thinking of, well, your means in terms of the resources that you have and what you can actually do. And so it's that interesting thing of working backwards, of seeing this is the most that I can do with the equipment that I have. So instead of trying to create something that is impossible to make right now, why don't I try to think and create something that I can make right now? And so exactly what you're talking about, you have the location. Let's just use that and let's make it not weird. Let's like use the situations that we have. But also it's interesting because there's like an independentness to the film. Like it feels indie, but it was intentional. And so when you're watching it, you're already in this world that was already intentionally made to make you feel that way. And so that is with that film, with a Bad Beat. And I know like Tomorrow's Bandits is kind of like a continuation sort of to Bad Beat. How did it come to starting to make Tomorrow's Bandits as well? Like, was it also that same idea of working backwards, of seeing, well, this is what I have and this is what I can make. So when you started writing Tomorrow's Bandits, were you thinking like that too?
Just really quick, what you're saying with Bad Beat, and I'll answer that in a moment about Tomorrow's Bandits. No, I just, you're bringing back so many wholesome memories, man. I haven't watched it in forever, but one of my personal favorite scenes, I guess, in Bad Beat is when the camera's actually moving as handheld and Charlie's going back and forth because the doorbell's ringing or whatever. Mm. But it's so, and I remember, I think Nick or Jacob was behind the camera. I forget which one was behind the camera for that scene. I remember they were like, oh, it's not going to be too shaky. And kind of to what you were saying, I was like, honestly, the shakier, I love it. It was so crazy, so unstable. And it was great to use a pair of hands compared to like some really expensive stabilizer, because it really gave it that indie feel. And I liked it. I thought it was cute. Honestly, I thought it was like, I like that. So I just haven't thought about that in a long time. But back to your point, or to your question about Tomorrow's Bandits and how that came around. That's taking me back too. I haven't thought about that in a long time. All I know is, or all I can say is that you've heard me say this. I'm a huge fan of the drug deal safe for Boogie Nights. Mm-hmm. I don't shut up about that. But there is a
What's
reason.
So funny is that I can't believe you're reminding me. I can't believe this. I literally watched your interview from the Garden State Film Festival yesterday. Oh, and it's so funny because in there too, you're like, I say this a lot, but like, I love the drug deal scene.
But it's so true though. It's so true.
It's amazing.
Like that scene really changed a lot for me. And I remember watching it in Florida for the first time ever because I was at my buddy's place, and it was just like, it was amazing. And it's funny because people that know the movie, they know the movie Boogie Nights, they'll say like it's a good movie, but you talk about that scene so seriously and so passionately, they're like, oh, really? But it's incredible. It's
It's a
really
great, it to me, it is one of the scenes that I will hands down laugh so hard to. Every firecracker pop, I am losing it. I'm like like a few seconds after the firecracker pop, I'm like trying to catch my breath, and then another one goes, and then I start like hound laughing again because it's so good.
it's funny, and you know what, man? It's funny, and there's tension. I mean, that's just like a personal thing.
So much tension.
It's just something I really, really enjoyed. But one of the things that blew me away was just there is like, I love all these favorite movies. You can name any director, and they have like $1 million budgets, all this crew. You know, you talk to people that are just on film sets, and they tell you like, we didn't maybe have enough days or enough people, but like, of course, there's context to that scene. But the reason why I love it so much is because of the fact that there was such minimal blocking. It was and yet I'm at the edge of my seat. Name any intense scene from any of your favorite movies, and like I would think, because it's a personal preference, but like I was at the edge of my seat more in that scene, and that's what really blew me away the entire time. Of course, it ends with this big explosion, but before that happens, the fact that it's
The
just
suspense.
static shot with the suspense, the static shot, the static shot, the static shot. Of course, the camera moves a bit, but it was like, God, I just never really experienced that before. It's so corny to say, but like I just loved it. And of course, I think because it was so ridiculous of this guy throwing firecrackers, and they have baby powder, and they're trying to pass it off as drugs, and then the guy they're dealing with is a complete like off the walls guy, just wants to hang out. I mean, I think that's why I also liked it too, because it was so funny. But what really blew me away was, wow, you just need an apartment. And of course, Paul Thomas Anderson is like, Paul Thomas Anderson, I'm nothing like him, but in terms of like, he's just brilliant, and I'm not there. But going back to how this idea come, we had this apartment, and I showed Nicholas Sisti. I showed him the scene from Boogie Nights. I did not tell him about the movie. He's seen the movie. Oh no, excuse me. He has not seen the movie. And am I going too long?
Yeah.
Am I going too long? I don't
No. Absolutely not.
No.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. So Nicholas Sisti has not seen the movie, and I show him the scene. I just say, dude, just fucking watch this. Like, don't even just watch it. I'm gonna get your take on it. He's like one of those brilliant writers I know. He watches it. I asked him 2 important questions. Did you understand what was happening? And what did you just overall think? And he did understand what was happening. That's very key. So, and we talked about it, why he liked it. I showed it to my editor, Sean, right? Shout out to Sean. Same thing. He hadn't seen the movie, and I showed him, and I said, I asked him the same questions, and they both said they understood what was happening. Now, when I went to South Dakota, I met this brilliant filmmaker, Brian Hosing. I believe that's how you say his last name. Brilliant filmmaker. And he made this film called Agrahole, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then he showed me his other films about like Duffy's Jacket. Huge shout out to him. And I told him this before I started writing. I said, Brian, very few films I've seen that are like so condensed. They're like 10 minutes long, and I'm getting so much out of it. And a lot of his films, or at least in Agrahole, if I remember correctly, it just started and you understood what was happening. Just like how I showed Nick and Sean the Boogie Nights scene. They didn't see the 2 hours before it. I just started it, and they understood what was happening. That really inspired me. I was like, that is so cool. I keep thinking I need to show all this stuff. I was like, if you can just show enough that people understand what the heck is happening, I think you could really do whatever you want. So again, we had an apartment room. I was a huge fan of that scene. I spoke to Brian about what I wanted to do, and me and Nick is a funny guy, and we were just kind of writing stuff and figuring things out. Like, what it'd be funny if, like, I remember one of like the early drafts where like they were gonna hire this hitman, and they were gonna print out his resume and like read off all of his crimes, and the other guys would be like, oh, like, why would you tell him that? The other guy's gonna have like fake tattoos to look tough, and they start peeling. We wanted it to be pretty like comedic. I remember that was like a long time ago. And then this was for a contest, and we had a deadline, and I just said F it. It was 4 pages. More importantly, I think there was a lot of directing techniques I was so excited to try. And first time I was working with a gaffer. And it was cool having the writing partner and all that stuff. And going through with it. But anyways, it came from the filmmaker from South Dakota, and watching Boogie Nights and all that kind of combined was a big inspiration. Like, oh, let's light this scene in one apartment, and I'll try to figure it out.
That's so cool. It's so interesting. You say it's like, you're right. When I feel like every filmmaker has like that moment where like they like understand movies at some point, like with the Tarantino and Kill Bill thing. You're like, wow, maybe I really like movies. Like movies are really cool. And then there's another moment after that where you are watching movies, you like movies, but then it's like it connects with you artistically, but also physically, like reality-wise. You're like, hold on. That really blew me away because I feel like I can do that. Like it almost gives you hope. The art almost gives you hope because you're taking it in and you're kind of feeling like, maybe I can do that. Like maybe I can produce something of that quality, but in my own way, just the way that you saw Boogie Nights and you were like, it was literally just one apartment. And it's just so simple. It's just how they did it and the aesthetic that they did it by. And that can really be seen in Tomorrow's Bandits. It has such an artistic quality and such an aesthetic that, of course, is derived from, I think you quoted Branded to Kill and other films.
Branded to Kill.
And of course you're taking, but you're making it your own. You're taking the spices and you're mixing it up in your own soup. And that soup is your Tomorrow's Bandits. And when you watch it, I swear I've never seen like anything like it. It, of course, brings me back and is nostalgic to other things that I've watched, but it's so you. Oh. And it's so funny because you are not a tense person. You are such a relaxed person. You're so easy to talk to.
Art is racing. I think I'm actually a pretty tense person. I think I'm good at hiding it.
Really?
Oh, heck yeah. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah.
Dang. Oh, wow. Then, okay. So then maybe the film is like, maybe the film was so easy to make in terms of that aesthetic because of who you are, in terms of how, because sometimes it's like you're watching the film, like one time I'll watch it and I'll be laughing the entire time. Another time I'll watch it and I'll be so anxious. And then sometimes it's like a mix of in between and you're like, what is this movie doing to me? And it's so much fun. Like the movie's almost like a roulette. Depending on how you're feeling that day, it's really fun.
I think you can relate. I'm just kind of desensitized to it at this point, which is sad.
I completely get it. Oh yeah, how was that film festival?
Great, highly recommend it that you submit. That was really cool. They have a bigger festival in November, so this is like the shorts version of it, but they're affiliated. You know what? And I'm going to say this because I'm really proud of this. They offered to pick you up from the airport. Now I don't know if they can do that for anybody or like everybody, but it was funny. They were like,
wow.
They were like, hey, we could supply you a ride from the airport to your hotel. Would you want to take it? They were like, we might not know if we'll come on time. I was like, dude, you can take 3 hours. I'm taking it. Are you kidding me? Every festival I've gone to, like, they don't, like, as few people ask, like, oh, do they fly you out? Or do they pay for your hotel? And like, oh, I wish. They don't do that. So, and I get it. I'm a nobody.
So at least a ride.
It was so cool. I thought it was
that's so sick.
And it was someone's car and they had these big magnets on it. I didn't freaking care. Oh, this is awesome. She had like a volunteer thing. Oh, this is great. I was honestly more excited to get picked up than I probably was for my film. Like that was so cool because you're used to driving all these hours to go to these places. Yeah. And it's like the little things, and that's why I have that office job to afford all who's paying for this, it's all money. So sure, it would have been a short Uber ride and it wasn't far from the airport, but that felt so cool. And she was so nice. She got me a water bottle and everything. She was super nice. And yeah, so that was the last time I saw Tomorrow's Bandits on Sunday. But I am desensitized to it. It's like I can't even watch it.
No, I mean, same. I don't know. I still enjoy my films. I'm probably sure that you still probably enjoy it. But you're right. There is that freshness that is gone after editing it a million times, coloring it a million times.
You're just sick of
exporting
seeing it.
it.
I'm sick of seeing it. I'm also, I'm just sick of looking at it, honestly. Like at this point, like I'll look at it like a festival or whatever. I'm not really watching it in my spare time. So,
and it's so funny. I feel like it's such like a slap in the face. It's such a reversal because it's like you're like, I really want to make a film. Like I just want to make a good short film and yada yada. You're trying so hard. And then at the end of it, you're like, I don't ever want to see this thing ever again.
Yeah.
I am so done with it.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Like, please never show me that ever again.
It kind of pained me to have to post it on social media because I'm sick of seeing it. I'm already working on like other things that this was so in the past. But one of the things I learned from festivals, when you get out of your own like circle and you meet people, one of the things I really loved was when I was meeting people up in Lake Placid, this one film group, they had their short film in their bio of like Instagram. It'd be like director of, and they would have the page of that film. And you would click on their page. Sometimes they had like a lot of promotion, and other times they just had like, it was like a documentation of where the film got in. It was like a still, the big festival they get into, like a top 100 festival, and like that's it. And that's all the pages. But you know what? It was neat. I didn't know this person, and in like a minute, I got everything. And so I thought that was really cool, and I wanted that. So as much as it pained me to make a page, I was like, no, because there's going to be people that have not seen this film. We're going to meet. It's just easy to have it like that, and I've already seen it. So I recommend people do that. Who cares what like people say? You just like, you have to do it. And that's the way I looked at it. And like now when I meet people, it's like, I was in Fort Lauderdale. If I'm going to go somewhere else, they haven't seen this before. And if they like it and they want to connect, they can just easily see like all your work just neatly laid out.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that was
it's ironic. New to them, but it's not to you.
Yeah,
you still kind of have to present it to them.
Yeah, it was just ironic because we're talking about like you're sick of seeing it, and I was sick of seeing it, and I had to make this stupid page, but I knew I was like, I got to make it because it's just I need to have it laid out like that. And who cares? I'm too old to care about that stuff.
You finished Tomorrow's Bandits. I mean, you're still on the festival circuit. You're on to your next project, which is this documentary. And I feel like it's normal and also not normal in terms of you made 2 short films. Of course, you're making music videos, but then your next thing is like a documentary. Like now you're dealing in the nonfiction. And so it's like a different world. It's like you can create situations, but you can't literally create what they're saying. And you're doing the best you can to capture the situation that you are creating or, just showing. And so what is the difference creatively of like making a short film and then now making a documentary? I don't know if it's supposed to be a full-length documentary or if it's supposed to be just a short documentary.
Mm-hmm. Well, the runtime of it is going to vary in the editing room because most importantly, I've said this to everybody I shoot with and who I talk to, I want it to be interesting. That's the number one thing. Because this whole project was mainly for my family at first, and then it kind of became bigger and bigger. So I already have that. I'm satisfied. That's the whole reason why I made it was for my family, and that stuff's already been shot. So at this point, if I'm going to like put it out there or anything, I'm like, well, let's see how it can cut up to an interesting story. And I don't know what the length for that's going to be. But to your question, like, what's the difference? I think the answer has kind of been like the way I think you asked it. You said, what's the best way of going about it? And I think, the best way of going about it is definitely not in my control. Personally, I don't try to control much. I feel like I'm not really doing much. I try to contain it. But it is a lot of work. I'm not saying it's not a lot of work, but the people that I'm interviewing, I think, are just making the film. They're incredible. It's completely different. It's a completely different experience, and it's not something that I would say like, yeah, it's because I'm planning all this or I'm trying to go from this angle. Honestly, it's the fact that we just gave this person a microphone and a camera, and what they're saying about their story and about their family and about their want for a photo and to reconnect is like, I didn't write any of that. I did not write a single word that they're saying. And it's so much passion. I just feel like I'm there blessed enough to have a sound guy and blessed enough to have somebody with a camera who's like, hey, David, how do you want this framed? I'm like, oh, let's frame it here. We just have a conversation. And they were just brilliant, like all the people in front of the camera. So that's what I would say is like the biggest difference of like just really letting go and like not trying to control so much. And I'm glad I did, because I couldn't, the at least what I'm looking at, like these like one-liners, there's no way I could have written anything like that. This is coming from
real people.
Exactly, real people and from the heart. So I give it to everyone that's in front of the camera, every single person that we're going to interview. They are just really bringing it together with their passion. So I'm just more of blessed. I feel like that they're letting me into their life, into their home, and I'm allowed to press record and capture the whole thing. So
there's something interesting to talk about in terms of like everyone's trying to find a story. Everyone's trying to find something to capture for their short film or their film, and they're getting writer's block and everything. But then weirdly, if anyone's ever made a documentary, because I had to make one for school, but it was so interesting. I was just like, I literally point a camera at someone, I give them a mic, and it's like the stories are literally right in front of you.
Yeah.
/ they're so real.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to fabricate anything, but yet we are like pounding ourselves to like make a film, make a story, make it from scratch, keep it original, and do this and all that, when there are plethora, millions, billions, trillions, etc., of stories out there that if you literally just took a moment to just capture it and just hear someone talk, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Just go back a couple of generations and there's some really crazy life experiences that I can't relate to, like living through a world war, leaving your home country. I mean, that's because of war and all the drama that goes in between that. And it's just like, that wasn't that long ago. And that's just one example, but you could take a generational difference of like, you know, we have a plethora of photographs and you meet people from different generations and they're like, hey, I have four photographs of my parents and they're like in really crappy condition. It's like, that's literally going to be unheard of for our children. Like we're going to document them with 4K footage from the moment they are freaking born until they're, you know, now look at AI. So we could probably predict their future. But I'm just saying like that is one of the things I find really interesting. Just going back a few generations, but talking to people and just letting them talk. Like, I feel like I'm just there and I'm quiet. And they're just like saying all this like really profound stuff. I'm like, wow, like people are really incredible. They have such amazing stories to share. Maybe I'll do, you know, I don't know if I'll do another doc. I mean, I'm actually not done with this, but definitely been an interesting little adventure.
When I did it, I think the biggest thing I got was like, it was very humbling. It was very like, it was just like, wow, like the letting go is like the biggest thing. Oh my gosh. You're trying to control everything, where in the documentary, except in the editing room, in the documentary, everything is about letting go. It is just letting someone have a moment to talk to you. And there's also just that, that feeling of just, of just wanting control. And so you going from your documentary, are you going to try and make another short film? Or maybe you're trying to take a break?
No, I would say I'm dying to make a short film. I'm dying to do another Tomorrow's Bands. I have a couple ideas. I've been kind of writing with one of my friends, but I'm dying to do that. And when I go to these festivals and you talk like what you want to do next, or if I meet someone before the film screening and we're talking about like what we're working on, you know, they have my card. On my card is the promos I did and the a little bit of the doc too. But I always tell them, and it does come from the heart, I always tell them, you know, what you're going to see in this block is actually what I really want to do. I mean, I'm enjoying the documentary and all the music video stuff, of course, but you know, 3 guys sitting in a room begging for this one of them to leave, and it's a really awkward situation, throwing a gun in time. That's the route I want to take. I really love that kind of quirkiness of just characters. I relate to them so much more, and just everything about just making it. That's really what I want to spend my time doing. And I stress myself out, but Can't wait to direct something narrative. I have to finish this doc. There is a funny meme. Yes, there's a funny meme. I love. And it's like cut in between Tony Soprano and someone else from the show. I don't remember which character it was. And there's them looking out the window. And one is kind of like a little bit grouchier. You can tell he's stressed. The other one kind of has like a little smile, but it's the same text on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, oh, there's so much to do. There's so many movies to watch, books to read, blah, 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 blah. And I liked it because it showed you they both are thinking the same thing. And one is positive and one is like stressing
their
themselves
perspective.
out. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how I feel. Like I feel like I want to do something again. But in due time, I should just embrace what I'm doing now and have fun with it and enjoy it. And so, just thanking God for really being able to wake up every day and have some project that I can turn on camera for, because I think that's really, really awesome.
Pour your heart into.
Yeah.
Do you want to keep so it seemed like when you said your heart was racing, and with what the movie is about, that they could just leave. They easily could. I guess so. But socially, it's kind of. Have you ever seen The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo?
Oh, Fincher movie, right?
Yes.
I have not, but I know it's a very tense movie.
And so basically a character, and like in your film, the character wants to get out of a situation so badly, but they feel like they can't because socially it's disrespectful to do so. And so do you want to keep researching, keep attacking that idea of like these imaginary rules, these imaginary like boundaries that we give ourselves of like these social constructs to like, I'm not going to like badmouth you here, but maybe in like 20 minutes after the podcast is done,
rules.
I'll badmouth you there. Or the same thing where it's like trying to hold in a fart, or like the way that you burp, or like the way that you sit up and everything. Or as easily as saying, if you're in here and like maybe you're uncomfortable being here, you're like, I just want to leave.
But you wouldn't say that.
But I feel like I can only leave once the podcast is done, once I've made my goodbyes and my hand has been shaken, and then I can leave. Do you want to keep attacking those kind of social rules and those social anxieties that people have?
Absolutely, but definitely not. Like that would definitely not be the story. I would think that would be the plot for sure. Like, well, it would be
an aspect.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch these Adult Swim shows, or even like these other shows that are like 15 minutes long, or not even that, they're like 10 minutes long. And I cite them because I'm not a big like cartoon guy, but the few of the shows that I watch, even the ones that aren't for adults, they just have so much happen. And it's like, every action that the person is doing is driving the plot. And then in between it would be something you just mentioned, these like social cues, or not social cues, these like unwritten rules of being in society or whatever. I don't know. Just like being a nice person and how you talk to someone, and the awkwardness of, we see that skit a million times. You hold the door open for someone, but you're like really far, and now you got to like pick up your pace to come catch it. Or like, if you say something like really uncomfortable, but you don't finish the sentence, and you just met this guy at a party and he's like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? You just say, yeah, I do. But like, you really don't. Because he just said something so morbid, and you want to be like, you know what? I don't know what you're talking about.
Or you too.
Yeah.
When
enjoy your food, you too.
Yeah, like, and you're like, or you don't even think about it because it's such a normal thing to say.
And for sure. And I would think that is something I'm very excited for, this one idea. I'm not talk too much about it because it's just so much in the air. But one of the things I want to have happen in this film is I'm going to build tension, build an actual story that is going to commence, that is going to go through the whole 3 acts. And I want you to feel the tension, but I want to set it up in a way where you have a lot of those moments of comedic social aspects. And more importantly, I don't really want to write them. I want to set them up and practice a lot of that in rehearsal, and let the actors run wild. I think that's the best part. You tell like somebody one thing, and then you tell somebody another thing, and then they meet and they don't know, but it's all around that social cue of like not being awkward. I think that's really fun. So to answer your question, I do definitely want to attack that. I have been thinking about it. I have a whole list on my phone of things that like crack me up during my like regular everyday. And it's not for like, it's not like that's gonna be like the film itself, but they're just like funny situations, like get into a car accident and like somebody doesn't have insurance and you're like trying to talk to them about it. And, or you're going to a vending machine, your dollar doesn't work. But what if you're at a vending machine and this is with stolen money and the guy's behind your neck and you owe him money. Now the dollar's not working. And he's like, oh, you're trying to give me fake money now, but the dollar's really not working. You're trying to like iron it out. You're trying to put it in. We could all relate to that.
That's so funny.
Like, it's just not going in,
really good.
you know, but you just put context and tension in that. That's kind of the realm I want to go down. I don't want to do too much of it. Maybe my opinion will change, but I want it to be like a really healthy balance. And yeah, so things that everyone can relate to, and throwing a gun in there, throwing a love affair, and like we'll make a story out of it. But for sure, because I don't know, I really like to have fun. I don't take myself like too seriously, and same thing with like my work. So you know, I like to have serious moments, of course, but I think those just come naturally if somebody watching it can laugh at the character. Like, you know, not every character is a super badass, you know. Maybe it's funny. Maybe he thinks he's a badass, but he just got laid off from Petco for the second time in a row, and he still owes his mom $50 and she won't talk to him. I don't know. I find that guy to be a little bit more relatable than if he wakes up and he's just John Wick, you know? So I would keep that and keep that kind of like story of whatever's going to happen. You know, I'm very into noir, so probably a lot of that crime tropes, but definitely throw in a lot of those social cues of like things that we question and overhearing a conversation and things that we know we can't do, but we really want to do. Everybody wants to do it. For sure, man. I think that's funny, in my opinion. I just love that stuff.
Just quickly, why film? Like, why do you think film should be made?
For myself or like in general?
Both, sure.
Jeez, why film? Well, David Lynch said something, I don't remember, I can't quote him exactly, but he said something along the lines of like just having an idea and you hold on to that idea. I think he was talking about like making it. Everyone talks about like making it big and having a career. I think they had asked him, when you made your first film, you know, do you think it was going to be in the whole industry as like a director? And he said, like, if I'm quoting it correctly, he disagreed and just pretty much said that it wasn't for any career purpose. It was more of a, I have an idea that I'm dying to tell. I thought that was really cool, especially coming from him because he's like awesome. And I think everybody just has an idea, you know. I tell my girlfriend all the time, she writes, I'm like, you should shoot this. Honestly, I really think like anyone can direct. You can. I mean, I'm nothing special. I'm really not. I just decided I'm going to buy a camera and press record. Like literally anyone can do it. I'm not trying to downplay it. I'm just trying to say that like it is possible. And I think when people just have like an idea, you know, and you want to present it in front of a camera, and then it becomes fun. How do you want to present it in front of the camera? There really is no like wrong answer. So I think that's a really beautiful part of life to like share. Everybody has stories, what we're talking about, and everybody has different stories, things they want to relate to. So I think that's why people really choose to film, because they're just passionate about stuff. And, you know, I'm really nothing special. Like anyone can do what I do, if I'm being honest. And I love that. I do think that that's a beautiful thing. I think trying to put yourself on like a podium and be like, no one can do this is like kind of ridiculous. But and for myself, it's just something, I guess I just like, you know, I want to share my own stories in that format. It's probably not that deep, but that's probably, I don't know. I like writing. I don't think I'd be satisfied with just writing. I think I want to show it. And probably because of music, I think I'm just so like everyone else, like a big fan of music, and it inspires a lot, even if I don't use the actual song itself. And I think like that's why I really love to be behind the camera. And I really encourage like anyone that I talk to, anyone that I know about who has ideas of their own or likes music, and they ask any of your friends, like, do you like, what's your favorite song, and do you see something in your head? And they're gonna have something. Even people that are not like
True.
film friends, like that are like film people, like they'll actually be like, oh, I love this one song. It's like this obscure indie band, and they like just see something for it. That's so cool. And I always like try to tell them like, you should film it. And they always say no. They're like, no, I can't. Blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, just do it, man. Just do it. And so I would say, but music is just like so powerful for everyone. I think that's why I like to choose film instead of just like writing it out and leaving it on paper. But you know, that's obviously still powerful too. I just don't think I'm that good at that. I mean, you read a script compared to a novel, you're like, yeah, I can't write a novel for dirt, you know. So
one quick thing, what is one thing they, in terms of acting and directing actors, what is one thing that you did in Tomorrow's Bandits that you still want to continue onto your next film, and what's something that you might want to change?
The thing I want to continue for sure, and it all comes from kind of that like really odd meme I was telling you about, because I'm just so excited to keep trying. Like I always put pressure on myself. I'm like, oh, well, like 26, like I have so much time, like so much is going to happen in my life, and I should just embrace it. And so that comes with like, I want to direct again. And one of the things I want to do is, and it'll definitely change, but I want to let go, keep letting go of what the actors are doing. I want to prioritize rehearsal and write scenes that I know they can let loose in. I want to contain them without them knowing, letting them know that there really is no wrong answer. But for instance, I'm not, at least for now, I don't think I want the bulk of a lot of my film to be cut up into 1,000 shots. I think I'd rather have a few conservative shots that are laid out pretty well, and then hold them and have the actors steal the show. That's something I really want to do. And that comes from rehearsal. Like, you're not just going to sit behind the camera and be like, okay, go, like, make me laugh. Like, that's so intimidating. And I feel like the actors are going to just like, they don't want to look dumb. So they'll be like, yeah, no, I got it. But it's like so nerve wracking, you know, because you try to do that. Like, that's tough. Like, I've heard I'm a little funny by like one person, but like, I can't say another joke. That's tough, you know? So I think wanting to prioritize, they could do no wrong in rehearsal, have them feel, and also that comes with not a lot of direction on the actual page. Again, for short film, it's just going to be very loose, but the situation is there and I can contain them. And obviously in my head, I know what goes too far. Like, well, we're going too off the script. Like, but I really want them to kind of embrace those social aspects, because everybody has a story and everybody has things that they find awkward and what they don't find awkward and how they react to them. So that only, to me, it's so funny, but it comes from like, just like letting loose. I can't control 3 people and be like, all right, you act nervous, you act weird, you act this, and to do that, twitch your eye this way and do that. Of course I can do that, but then it's going to be like, odd. I'd rather than just do it naturally. And I think that's beautiful. I really think that's beautiful. And that's really funny. That's how you get like things that you could have never even thought about, because this person is so comfortable and I was going to do whatever the heck comes naturally to them. So that's just me. I want to keep doing that. And maybe eventually, ask me after my next narrative, I'll be like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't know. But for now, I learned that from Tomorrow's Bandits. So I'm like, I want to keep doing that. I want to embrace a lot of other people's ideas and not just try to be in my own head. And of course, like, I know what I want. So like, I'll like pick my battles, but like
collaborate,
truly
true
collaborate,
collaboration.
truly collaborate, you know? Absolutely. And then things I wouldn't want to carry over. Well, you're talking about directing and moving with actors. Oh, okay, all right. I wouldn't want to scare them too much. I did do that.
Yeah,
and that would be the one thing I wouldn't want to do. So, long story short, there was a loud bang that they didn't know was going to happen. And I really wanted that for kind of like an authentic reaction. The thing is, we wrote a loud bang in the script. And then I tried this thing a day before we were going to shoot. I was like, hey, there's no more loud bang. But they had already like been okay with the bang. And they were even disappointed. One of them even wanted to bring in something that was made out of glass to still emulate that bang. And I was like, no. But they had no idea that we were going to use something that obviously was not glass. It was like a breakable prop. And they were not expecting that. And I hate that take, because we did end up using it, but they were so scared. And I think it was too loud. It was way too loud. And I think was like, it made me uncomfortable. I felt like I just killed a lot of their own momentum. And so I think that is something I don't want to carry over. I said, yeah, let loose, maybe, tell actors different direction and surprise them. But within a certain
reason,
morality. And now a loud bang, I know exactly. It sounds dumb to say out loud, but like I didn't think about it. Because I'd expected the bang, because I didn't really think about it. But like now I'm like I'm like embarrassed, and I want to talk about it so people like can know themselves. Like if you are going to take a risk, like really think about like startling your actors. That might not be the best, like the best thing. Even if they know you were going to do it and then you tell them you weren't, doesn't matter. When it was happening, they didn't know about it and it scared them. Rather than we did a surprise where he was holding a cigarette and he took it out of his hand. And I told him who was holding the cigarette, like, this is your last cigarette. Like you're actually quitting tomorrow. And this is your last one. You're not buying another one. Don't let anyone take it away from you. And in the middle of his line, I told the other actor to go steal it from him. And then they did, and they had a really funny line and funny banter. Yeah, that's a good surprise. He was shook, of course, but like it was a cigarette coming out of his hand. A loud bang that you're not expecting can really actually scare the shit out of you. And that is something I'm like, okay, I had so much fun, but like that I don't even want to do. And they were cool with it. Like they obviously were shook at the time, but like later that night I apologized. And they called me and they were like, dude, that was so cool. I'm going to tell everyone about this. And I still felt terrible. And even like a week later, I think when I saw them, like for like, just like a wrap little hug or whatever, I remember actually giving a really long apology to each actor and telling them like how sorry I was. And I remember when I told one of the actors who was in New York at the time, I said how sorry I was. I was like midway through. He was like, oh, shut the fuck up. That was so cool, man. Like, don't worry about it. And it was nice to hear it, but I still wanted him to let me finish. Yeah. I even apologized to the producer. We went out for like lunch with some other people, and I mentioned like, I'm not doing that ever again. I feel like it scared people, and I don't want that. Like, it kind of shook me a little bit, and I just felt bad. And I think owning up to it, learning from it, and wanting to do better is like really, really important. So that's one thing I would not take, is to actually surprise them too much. Surprise within reason.
Keep it pretty
responsible. Tame. Yeah, keep it pretty tame.
So before you go, and we have to wrap up pretty quick, smack me with some movies. Just give me some movies that you've thought about. Don't even think about it. Just hit me with some movies
that I've seen,
connected to, I've been thinking about.
I'm a huge fan of Trainspotting. Love Trainspotting.
That's so funny. Renzo's literally
I know, and I saw the shirt and I was like, that's a great freaking movie. Like when that movie's done, I'm like, I want to make something like that and have my name come up at the end. Like that's such a great movie. Trainspotting, Truman Show I just watched 2 days ago.
For the first time?
Basically, yeah. I saw it in high school. I didn't really pay attention.
It was a while.
So it was, yeah. So I'm watching it now. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I haven't really been watching that many movies. I've been watching The Last Dance on Netflix. That's really good. It's a great documentary. Yeah.
I love that documentary.
Even people who aren't into basketball say that. And I love that. I really do. It's just such a good movie.
I love that.
Such a good documentary.
I literally have a Rodman jersey just because of that.
Yeah,
literally just because.
That's sick. There's something to say about basketball and film and media. There's a lot at that, which I think is really cool. But so yeah, Truman Show I just watched, Trainspotting,
The Last Dance.
The Last Dance. Yeah, this is quite the jump from a lot of things. I think the movie's called Night of the Hunter.
Ooh,
I just saw that.
Class.
Really good. I didn't expect it to be that great, but I thought that was really good.
That's really good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, David, thank you very much. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for giving your time. It was a pleasure having you.
Oh, it's great to be here.
So, I love you, bud.
Love you too, man.
I hope you have a beautiful night.
I hope you have a better night.
Thank you.
Thank you. This guy, you're such a cheeky guy. Look over here and pinch your cheek. Well, is that too much?
No.
We're still rolling?
No, we're chilling. We're done.